me just start off, as I do every morning, by just making sure that you all have not seen, read, or heard any media accounts of this case overnight. Is there any way to do or see or listen to any media accounts? So everybody shake their head no. Can't think Mr. Langston going to get any thumbs up. So. Okay. All right. We are ready to proceed. We are running ahead of schedule, so that's good news for everybody. It looks like I'll give this case to you all tomorrow morning, if all goes according to schedule, to begin your deliberations. And I'll have some instructions for you when we wrap up this afternoon for tomorrow morning. So when we left off yesterday, the state had rested its case. That's what we wrote, and I began to work with the lawyers in the afternoon about finalizing the instructions that I'll give you to decide this case. So where we're going to pick up today is the defense is going to put on a case. As I mentioned to you at the beginning of the case, the defense is not obligated to prove anything. It's the state's burden of proof to prove the crimes charged. But the defense has chosen to put on a case. So at this point, we'll begin with the defense presentation of its witnesses. Mr. Shoemaker, you can call your first witness.
Yes, Your Honor, we call Detective Colley.
Detective Colley, you remain under oath. And if you'll take the witness stand, please. Mr. Shoemaker, you may proceed.
Yes. And I know you've been here a couple times already, but could you introduce yourself again?
My name is Detective David Colley. I work for the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office.
And again, just to recap, what were you asked to do as far as this case?
Perform extractions from, I believe, 5 cell phones in this case.
And was one of the phones, was that belonged to Amanda Colley?
Yes, sir, it did.
And do you know what the, let's say, the last 4 digits of that phone number was?
I'd have to look at my notes, but I believe I can come up with it.
Do you have it there?
Yes, sir, I do. Okay. The last 4 would be 3603.
And then as far as James Colley, how was he listed in Amanda's phone number as far as contact?
He was listed as bitch in her phone, in his phone.
No, how was James listed?
Oh, JR, I believe.
JR. All right.
I don't have any of those records.
Okay. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm showing you what's been previously marked for defense identification purposes as Exhibit B. Do you recognize these?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what are they?
They would be text messages from Amanda Colley's phone.
And who was the conversation with?
James Colley.
All right. And did you have an opportunity to review these text messages?
I briefly looked over them, yes, sir.
All right. And are these a fair and accurate depiction of the conversation that took place between James Colley and Amanda Colley from August 24th of 2015 to August 26th, 2015?
As far as text messages, yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I would move to introduce Defense Exhibit B into evidence as Defense Exhibit 1.
Any objection?
Just what previously noted.
As previously noted. Okay. That'll be received into evidence as defense exhibit 1.
All right, and how many, were there a number of text messages going back and forth?
There were several.
All right. And what I'd like you to do is you could start with the first one and read through as far as the conversation that was taking place.
Before we do that, folks, because you'll have this with you when you deliberate your verdict in this case. There are edits in there to eliminate irrelevant matters. So when you go through it and you're looking at these items later, don't assume anything or draw any assumptions on those matters that have been edited because they don't pertain to this case.
And I'm sorry, were you okay. And Mr. Colley, if you could, when it switches dates from, let's say, the 24th to the 25th, could you let us know that?
Sure. Could you repeat the actual first question?
Yes. Would you read the conversation that took place between Amanda Colley and James Colley starting on August 24th of 2015 at 9:32 and then finishing on August 26th?
Sure. This is, I'm assuming to Amanda. Just know there are things that you could never take back. And other than the kids call me why they've been gone and keeping them from his birthday party, you're a bad person. It's hard for me to, this is not the normal view I look at, so I'm not sure who sent what here.
Well, I believe
Does it
that
say in and out box, or sent or received, or anything like that?
if you look at the top number, that's the sender, and, or the name, that's the sender.
Okay. From James, Trey has his phone. He can call you anytime he wants. You could have called them anytime, but you never even bothered to check on them at all in 3 days. You always blame me for everything. You really need to start looking in the mirror. Very convenient that I don't hear one word from you about this until after the weekend. And I know you didn't work this weekend, but I bet this weekend, when it's your time with the kids you do, you're really a bad person, or really the bad person. Who is really the bad person? I'm sorry. The kids never asked to call you. I wanted to speak with them. Then if you want to speak with them, then you should have reached out. I don't have Trey's phone number. This is from Amanda, I'm assuming. If I don't have the phone number, and I had no idea he even had a phone. The last time I received from you said, the last text I received from you said, don't mess with me and my family. No need to talk anymore. You can get the kids Monday. You told me not to contact you anymore. How was I supposed to get in touch with them? I did check on them every day through Facebook. I know you were with the at Adventure Landing Friday with our friends, I might add, and yesterday at the birthday party. I'm so sad I have to search Facebook to see my kids. I actually think those are messages to her from James, probably. But I have to look back at a different report to see that.
Well, if you look at the next one, I think that clears it.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Amanda, you could have called for the kid. You could have called for the kids. I would never keep them from you. And just look at the call to check on, just like to call and check on them when they are with me. Just like you call and check on them when you're with me. The kids are one thing. I wasn't talking about that. You were mad about something a 5-year-old said. Grow up.
And then on the second page, it starts at the top with...
Trey wouldn't lie, and I know it. He lies all the time. 5-year-olds at the house have never gone outside to talk about the UPS man, I'm assuming, and wouldn't let him outside, Just stop. I didn't go outside to talk to him. He left the package at the front door. Trey went and got it when the lightning stopped, and he opened the package. This is BS, and you know it. It makes no sense. Just like you said, he is married, right? You're the biggest liar I've ever seen.
Detective Crosby?
Yes.
When you start, can you identify who's talking as far as, let's say, James?
Sure.
Or Amanda?
That last one's from James. Still from James. I'll just say when they change from one party to the next. Let's just speed this divorce up and get this over with. I really hope you live this person as though destroyed our whole family for it. Love. It's from Amanda. You have seriously lost it. From James. Sure. Oh, and your boyfriend has been parking in the playground and walking around the back. The whole neighborhood knows. Or I'm assuming that's neighborhood. You should just have have him park out front like a man. Yeah, everyone knows. What are you? This is from Amanda. He is not my boyfriend, like I've told you before. He helps me with yard work, paint, moving furniture, etc. From James. So why isn't he pro in the driveway if he isn't hiding? and I guess he is married, right? Amanda, what am I? Someone who finally stood up to you and said enough is enough. No one should have to be spoken to the way you speak to me. James, tell yourself what you want. By the way, he is ugly. I have a pic of him. From Amanda. He HD, whatever that means, parked in the driveway at the park to avoid this happening. How do you have a pic of him? You don't even know what you're talking about. From James, sure. Were you going to cut the grass? Were you going to paint the bedroom, all the bedroom? Were you going to pick up the mattress for me? No, because you only care about yourself. And there's a picture from James of, it's hard to look at here, but it looks like it's the same picture of the man mowing the grass. Like I said, nice hair, LOL. And I'm sure he comes over to be a nice guy. And why does he? Like I said, everyone know what you are. This is from her. You have like 4 friends in the neighborhood, so don't try and act like what the Turskys or Dickens think is going to affect me. Again, from James. You still want to say you're not sleeping with someone, or was lying, Trey. From Amanda, you've never liked Mike Dickens, and now you have him doing your dirty work. Trey was lying. I'm not sleeping with someone. James, yes you are. He isn't coming around for nothing, Amanda. Just stop lying. But I really feel you could do better than that. The top of this one's cut off.
Just move on to the next one.
Okay. That was from Amanda. I can't make what that one says. Next one from James. Don't worry, I will speak to him face to face sooner than later. From Amanda. He is my friend. I know that is a concept you know nothing about. From James. Good for you. From Amanda. I'm going for full custody with every other weekend going for you. I don't trust your actions around them, so for now, your time should be limited. From James, I'm going for full custody as well. Don't be mad because you got doughy with your boyfriend. Just give me the fortitude I asked for and can move on. Then you can move him right on in. From Amanda, I'm not mad at all. I think you're ridiculous and jump to conclusions you know nothing about. From James, call me please. Excuse me. From Amanda, you caught me having someone mow the grass. Wow, I must be a whore. No. James, I don't want to fight. Can we just talk for a minute? From Amanda, no. From James, why are you mad at me? I have known this has been happening. I'm fine with it. I just want to work out the kids. From Amanda, because you're full of shit. You kept me from my son's birthday party and you're spreading rumors I'm a cheating whore. From James, I don't want full and neither do you. You know they need us both. Amanda, you are more than friends. He's the fifth wheel. Or he's fifth wheel. From Amanda, we are not more than friends, but keep sweeping lies about me. It just makes me hate you more. From James, call me please. Can I at least have the furniture? From James still. If you're with this man, just tell me so I can move on. I can't hurt you court because of Florida law. It can't hurt you court because of Florida law. I deserve the truth. Still from James, I can take that as a yes. From Amanda, I'm taking care of our children. I don't have any help, remember? I'm not with anyone. I'm trying to figure out what the rest of my life looks like. From James, well, I really hope that I can be in that picture. I love you. Still from James. Kid's okay. Don't judge me. I just stopped at McDonald's. From Amanda. I just ate a bag of graham crackers. From James. Yeah, but I don't have any kids with me. And graham crackers and a mule sounds freaking awesome. Still from James. Rhonda left for Italy today for 2 weeks. Tell the kids I love them and good night. From Amanda. Trey's asleep but still fighting with Avery. From James. Avery won't go down until after 11. Wouldn't go down until after 11 last night. Guess we wouldn't have that talk. I miss you. Still from James. Good night. I love you. I'm sorry, correction. That was on the. That changed from the August 24th to August 25th. That last message. Good night. I love you. From Amanda. Good night. Do you think your dad can look at the AC tomorrow? From James. Yes, text me in the AM so I don't forget, please. Also, don't forget about the letter and daycare. If I schedule more counseling for us, will you go? Turn on the air to 75 to like 75 before you leave so it doesn't have to work. Do hard, please. Your lady doctor for female stuff called me looking for you tomorrow for your tomorrow appointment. Is everything okay? From Amanda. Yes, it's just annual. Correction, that switched to the 26th, back on, turn up the AC. From James. Okay, babe, just wanted to make sure everything was okay. Hope you have a good day. From Amanda. These are not in order because that goes back to the 25th. Back on August 25th, from Amanda. No lights for Trey. James Colley, thank God. That's a duplicate.
Sorry.
It's okay. From Amanda, this is still back on the 25th. We're here. From James, okay, I'm heading over. Is she okay? I'm sure she is scared. From Amanda, she is okay. Sweet 1801. From James, okay.
And it should go to the 26th.
It does. This is from Amanda. Do your parents get the kids okay? Don't forget to vacuum anywhere the kids were to make sure all the eggs are killed. James, they did. Be careful on your way home with you. Bad tried. Looks like it's going to storm. From Amanda. 95 is a mess. What are your parents soon with the kids? From Amanda still. Doing not soon. From Amanda. Op support senior manager. It looks like a hyperlink to maybe a job. I would have to search that and find out what that is. From James. You want me to find out more about you? I think it's an AML department. You okay? Air working? From Amanda. Migraine won't go away. Still laying with a rag on my head. I've been asleep since I got home, and I'm going back to sleep. I hope I'm not getting sick. From James, do you want me to bring you anything? I hope you're not. From Amanda, no, I just need to sleep it off. From James, okay, then we won't call you tonight if you want some rest. I love you and I hope you feel better. Please try to start forgiving me so we can move on. I really miss you and our family being together. Good night. Trey says he loves you too. From Amanda, hug them both for me. Good night. Will do. I know you love me still. It's okay if you won't tell me. Get some rest.
Is that the last text?
That's the last one.
1 second, Ryan.
Sure.
Anything else?
Any cross-examination?
No, you're right.
This detective calls an excuse.
I'd like to keep up just a video.
You're still subject to recall.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Shoemaker, you call your next witness.
Kyle Bedran.
Mr. Pedrano, if you could take a way to stand right here. I'll have you remain standing on the here, and the clerk will administer the oath to you.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Be seated.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Shoemaker, you can proceed.
Would you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
My name is Kyle Veteran.
And where are you employed, sir?
Right now I'm in a law firm, Veteran Law.
And is that local?
Yes, sir, it's in Jacksonville.
Back on August 27th of 2015, were you in the St. Johns County Courthouse?
Yes, sir, I was.
And were you meeting a client there?
Yes, sir.
And who was that client?
James Colley.
Now, did James arrive on time? Was he late, or when did he get there?
To be honest, I don't recall exactly. I don't recall him being particularly on time.
Okay. All right, and when you arrived, did you have a conversation with Mr. Colley?
Yes, sir, I did.
Without getting into anything he said, what was his demeanor like?
He was very nervous. I guess a bit jittery would be the best way to describe him.
And did you take care of everything that needed to be done that day, as far as the appearance?
Yes, the appearance in the criminal case, correct.
Okay. And when you got done, did you have a conversation with Mr. Colley?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right, and was Mr. Colley, what was Mr. Colley's demeanor once you finished with the appearance?
Even afterwards, he was still a bit jittery, a little bit different than before, but still a bit jittery at that time.
Was he upset?
Based on my observations, I wouldn't say that he was necessarily upset.
Was he happy?
Again, based on my observations, I think that I could say he was happy.
He was happy? All right, and did he do anything that was out of the ordinary that day? When you were finished?
When we were finished, dealing with these types of cases, we run into all different types of folks that when we're facing any courtroom for that matter, there's a bit of nerves that come involved. Based on my observations with Mr. Colley of our time at that, the jitteriness and the nervousness that followed after we had resolved everything was a bit different than normal.
And when you left and when you departed, how did you say goodbye?
I believe Mr. Colley had given me a hug, shook my hand, and then we left, and I believe we were exiting out the south entrance.
And did you ever have any conversation with Mr. Colley again after?
No, sir.
I have one second.
Sure.
I don't have anything else to say, Your Honor.
Okay. Any cross-examination, Mr. Johnson?
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning.
Just a few follow-up questions. When you met with the defendant the morning of August 27, 2015, when you had your conversation, I don't want to get into any of the conversations either, but when you had your conversations with him, did it involve, was he able to understand you, respond appropriately to whatever questions, whatever information you were providing to him?
Based on my observations, he didn't appear to misunderstand anything I was discussing with him.
Okay, he seemed to be coherent and in his right senses, so to speak.
As best as I could tell you, sir.
Okay. And Mr. Shoemaker was asking you about his demeanor, both during and after the court proceedings. You had indicated that he was jittery on both occasions, and then he asked you about whether or not he had appeared upset or was happy. When he asked you about whether he was happy, you kind of hesitated. Then you said, I could say he was happy. Is it fair to say that he wasn't like jumping for joy, just was satisfied with the outcome of the proceedings that occurred that morning?
That's fair to say, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further.
Any redirect?
No, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Drake. You are excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So you're released from any subpoena?
Yes, sir.
You subject to recall?
He might be subject to recall depending on what happens later.
Okay, you are subject to recall. Thank you. That's all against you.
Your Honor, Defense will call Rhonda Colley.
You'll remain standing. Raise your right hand, please.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Take a seat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Shoemaker, you can proceed.
So would you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
I'm Rhonda Colley Boatwright, James' sister.
And Ms. Colley, where was James living back in, let's say, early July of 2015?
He was back and forth between my house and his and Amanda's home.
Do you know when he first came to your house?
There were a couple times, July 4th for a few days, and then he went back home. And then I believe it was a Sunday, I think July 12th or 13th. I don't have the calendar in front of me, I'm sorry.
Do you recall if between the 5th and the 12th, whether or not you saw James and Amanda together?
Yes, several times.
And do you recall if Amanda was ever at your residence during that time frame?
I believe she was.
And how was your relationship with Amanda?
I would consider her one of my best friends.
And did you believe they were having marital issues at that time?
I knew they were, yes.
And what was your role, I guess, in the relationship?
I guess I was kind of like a go-between, in between the two of them. You know, I'm sorry. My brother was telling me they were having problems. He thought they were having an affair.
Pulse reader said.
Sustained.
Don't get into anything that
Okay.
James may have told you, just what your role was as far as the relationship.
I was trying to get them to work it out.
And at some point, did you become aware of the fact that there was an injunction in place?
I did.
And when the injunction was in place, where was J.R. living or James?
He moved in with me.
And after the injunction, do you recall whether or not James and Amanda continued to see each other?
I'm going to object. I ask for a basis of knowledge.
Rephrase the question.
After the injunction, did you ever see James and Amanda together?
Yes.
And was that frequent or how often?
I don't know what you consider frequent. I know it would be occasionally. When I was in Italy, I tried calling my brother. Trey's birthday was the 26th. So on the 25th, I called him. He didn't answer, so I FaceTimed Amanda to see if Trey would be with JR or Amanda. And she answered the phone. JR was with her. She was making them dinner.
And what day was that?
That was and I'm sorry, I think the 25th because, Italy's ahead. So,
And when did you go to Italy?
I left the Monday before. I believe that would be the 24th.
And what did you drive as far as a vehicle that night?
Infinity.
And what color was it?
Maroon.
As far as the vehicle, did you lock that vehicle up when you left to go to Italy?
I did.
And what was the reason for locking it up?
I had 2 guns in the vehicle, and I wasn't planning on going to be home for several weeks. So we left, I think, Monday night. When I pulled in the driveway, we had already packed the truck. My friends were already there and were driving with us to Orlando. They were awaiting my husband. My other friend, who also was my housekeeper, dog watcher, she was out there. I gave her the key fob because I didn't want to go with me to Italy and lose it, and asked her to put it up for me.
And what guns did you lock in the vehicle?
A 9mm, and I think think it's a .45.
And where did those guns come from?
My brother Amanda.
And why did you have those guns?
My brother husband had gotten me a 380 for Christmas, and the trigger I didn't like it. I think it's called a double action trigger, but it was hard. So I was telling them that we had gone to the gun range, didn't like it, and he said try either one of these and see which one you like better, and then we can sell the 380.
And you may have stated before, but did you anticipate that anybody would be driving your vehicle when you went to Italy?
No, of course not. Nobody ever drove my vehicle.
And I wanted to back up a little. When you found out about the injunction, were you aware of the, I guess, the parenting plan that was going on between Amanda and James?
Yes, I actually helped set it up.
And what was that?
Objection, relevance?
Sustained.
And I said, when James had the children, was Amanda involved in helping take care of the children?
No.
Objection, relevance?
What was your answer?
No, she was not.
When Amanda had the children, was JR involved in helping care for the children?
Yes, I would receive emails, specifically.
You can tell us what they say.
Okay, yes.
And how would he be involved? Would he go to school? Would he
He'd pick the kids up, he'd take them to football practice, he'd have dinner with them. They'd go to Adventure Landing down the street as a family.
And again, without getting into anything that JR may have told you, you stated earlier that you knew that James and Amanda were having marital problems. Did you ever talk to him about that?
I did.
And did you ever give him any words of advice or anything like that?
Objection, relevance?
Sustained.
I don't have anything else at this time.
Cross-examination, Mr. Johnson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is it Ms. Colley Boatwright or just Boatwright?
Either one's fine.
Ms. Boatwright, I want to ask you a few questions, primarily about the guns.
Yes, sir.
You indicated that that you left the guns in your Burgundy Infiniti before you went to Italy,
That's correct.
and you locked the Infiniti because you had the guns in there. Is that correct?
Well, and I typically lock the car, yes.
Okay. But I think your answer to Mr. Shoemaker's question was that you locked the car because you knew you had the guns in there. Is that correct?
Because I typically had guns in my car.
Okay.
Yes.
And how long were you going to Italy for? Okay. Why did you lock the guns in the house?
Because I wasn't going into the house. I was running late, and I always carried one in the car, and then I had one in my purse. But when I was getting out, my purse was heavy, and I was like, oh crap, sorry. I was like, oh, I'm going through, security. I don't want to have this gun in the car, in my purse. And so I just stuck it up between the seat, hopped out of the car, and got into the truck.
Now, you and your husband, you had a gun safe at the time, correct?
No, not at the time.
Did you ever have a gun safe during the time that you owned these guns?
No.
Never? Okay. But you would agree that the guns would have been much more secure during your 2-week trip to Italy, to another country, if you had locked them in the house, correct?
I don't know if that's true or not.
You do have a lock in your house, right?
And I do have a lock in my car as well.
Okay, my question though is, you do have a lock on your house, correct?
Of course I do.
Okay. So you lock the guns in your car, you're going to Italy for 2 weeks. What type of guns did you say that you locked in your car?
9mm and a 45.
Okay, are you sure about that?
It was a 45. I think it was a 45.
Okay, you're sure about the fact that it was a 9mm and a 45?
I'm positive about the 9mm. I think and I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the difference between a 40 or 45, but I believe it was a 45, yes.
And you say that you got these guns from the defendant, is that correct?
From James and Amanda, yes.
And your testimony today is that he gave you both of the guns for you to try out because you didn't like the 380 that your husband bought you, is that right?
Correct. I didn't like the trigger. It still needs the trigger to this day.
Okay, my question though is, you had these guns because the defendant let you use them to see if you like them, correct?
Right, he was going to give me one,
You
correct?
didn't buy them from him.
No.
How long had you had the guns prior to your trip to Italy?
A few months, at
Did
least.
you have them in your car the entire time?
One of them, and the other one was in my purse for the house. Mine.
Now, do you know the brand or the maker of the 9mm and the 45 caliber gun that you're sure that you left in your car when you went on your 2-week trip to Italy?
I believe the 9mm was a Glock, but I'm not 100% positive, and I don't know the 45 for sure.
What color were the guns?
One was, I think, silver and one black. I can't remember. It's been 3 years.
Now, do you recall back right after these murders happened, do you recall being interviewed about the guns in the car?
I was interviewed a year after the murders happened. Yes, I do recall that. Are you referring to my deposition?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm referring to an interview that you did with Sergeant Gene Tolbert on September the 14th of 2015, which was a couple of weeks after the murders. Do you
If
recall
you
that?
recall that interview, I actually went to go pick up items from the jail, and he asked me questions, and I told him I was uncomfortable speaking with him without an attorney.
Okay, so, but you do remember talking to Sergeant Tolbert,
Yes.
and he asked you some questions. You actually volunteered some of that information, right?
I don't believe so.
And he asked, you had a conversation about the guns that you said that you left in your car. Is that right?
I don't remember.
Now, isn't it true, Ms. Boatwright, that at the time, he was asking you which guns that you had in your vehicle, and you weren't really sure. Isn't that right?
I wasn't really even sure how I got home from Rome, so that doesn't surprise me that I wasn't really sure.
Okay, but that interview that occurred with Sergeant Tolbert was 2 weeks after the murders.
Right.
And
And since then, I've been through much counseling.
Okay, and today is 3 years since
Correct.
the murders, correct?
Yes, sir.
So your testimony here today is that your memory about the guns that you left locked in your car when you went on your 2-week trip to Italy is clearer 3 years after the fact versus 2 weeks after the fact. Is that correct?
Again, after much therapy, yes. I'm remembering more things.
In fact, you never even brought up with Detective Tolbert the fact that one of the guns you claimed that was in your car was a 9mm, did you?
I don't remember the conversation. I just remember, I mean, Johnson, I'm not trying to be difficult. I can just tell you I remember going to the police station because they were supposed to bring my stuff back. I was picking up my laptop. I remember being locked in a room. And I don't even know if it was Detective Tolbert, even I couldn't tell you if it was or not. I remember a police officer coming in, asking me, wanting to talk to me saying I'm not comfortable really talking without an attorney present, and that's basically all I remember of the conversation. And I said, you remember dude saying, why are you guys saying this is premeditation when you know that the guns are in my car?
Right.
And along those lines.
Right, you volunteered that. You're like, hey, it's not what you guys think it is
Right.
because I had the guns in the car.
Right.
Right?
Yes,
And
sir.
he asked you, what guns did you have in your car?
Right.
And you said, I think it might have been a 45, but you said nothing about the 9mm, did you?
Right. I was on a lot of medication then too as well.
Okay, so you needed medication to be able to
This was a
answer his
very
question?
traumatic event. I know that a lot of people don't really care about the defendant's family, but we
Your
have
Honor,
been through this.
it's
not a response, just answer Mr. Johnson's questions, please.
Can you repeat it again, please?
Now, when you're talking with Sergeant Tolbert, you had testified about this 380 that your husband bought you and you didn't really like.
Yes, sir.
Did you indicate to Detective Tolbert that the 380 might have been one of the guns that was in your car?
I do not recall the conversation.
Okay. So is it possible that you told him, indicated to him that your 380 may have been one of the guns in the car?
I don't recall the conversation.
Okay. Now, when you got the gun from your brother,
Yes, sir.
he gave you a case with it, right?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Okay. You remember what the case looked like?
No,
You don't?
no,
You don't remember what color it was?
I don't.
Do you know if it was a hard cover or soft cover?
I don't recall.
What happened with the case? Was it with the gun in the car?
I don't know because the car was kind of destroyed when it was brought back from
Okay.
Virginia.
Okay, that's not my question though. My question is, where was the case? He gave you the gun with the case, you said.
Right.
Where was the case?
I don't know. I don't know if I had it. I don't recall. It's been years. I don't recall if I had left it on and when I took it out of my purse, if I stuck it down in the case. I don't remember.
Now, just last month, you testified at a hearing, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And that was just a month ago, correct?
I believe so.
So when you gave your testimony a month ago at this hearing, were you thinking clearly then as you are today?
Again, I've been on medication. You're referring, I said a 9mm in either 40 or 45 at that time.
Well, I'm going to ask the question. My question though right now is, were you thinking as clearly a month ago when you testified as you're thinking today?
Yes.
Okay, isn't it true that in that hearing a month ago, you testified that you thought it was a 9mm and a 40 caliber handgun that was in the car?
I said it could have been a 40 or 45.
Okay. Isn't it true, Ms. Colley, you don't really know? You're trying to keep track of all these guns and you really have no idea about the caliber of these guns.
I don't believe that I agree with you on that.
Okay. So you don't know if it was a 380, at least back in 2015, it was a 380 or it was a 45?
I'm positive it wasn't the 380
Okay. Okay, you're positive of that.
because I didn't like the trigger on it.
Just like this morning when we started, you were positive that the guns you left in the car was a 45 and a 9mm, correct?
Again, I've been through much counseling since then, yes, sir.
Okay.
And
So we can't, everything that
this
you,
week.
so everything that you said from the time that this event happened to today, you can't be trusted. But today, we can take your word that what you're telling this jury is the truth. Is that correct?
I'm not sure. I mean, I can't be trusted. I haven't changed my story.
Oh,
So I'm not sure what you're referring to.
okay. Well, isn't it true you didn't tell Detective Tolbert about the 9mm in 2015?
I was in shock. My brother was accused of murder.
So,
I don't even remember how I got home. My friends had to pack my bag. I don't even remember if I flew into Jacksonville or Orlando. So I'm sorry if I wasn't very clear about my conversation with Detective Tolbert,
Okay.
but I was not.
all right, so but today you're thinking clearly, correct?
Yes, again, I've been through much counseling since that time.
Okay. And today you're thinking clearly, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And you're telling this jury that what you said today is the truth, correct?
Yes, I'm telling the truth.
And it's your testimony today that's not inconsistent with anything you've ever said before?
I don't believe that it is, no.
Okay. And you're telling this jury that you don't believe you left anything out before?
I don't believe so. Again, it depends what question you're asking me. I had a time block where I was in shock, and I don't recall things for several weeks.
Okay.
I was out of work. I was on disability. I mean, it was a very traumatic event for everybody involved.
Okay. So today, you're telling us that you know for certain it was not a .380 handgun, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you're telling us today that you know for certain it was not a .40 caliber handgun, correct?
That's correct. I'm a little more informed about guns now too than I was then.
You've done some research on that?
We bought additional handguns, and so since then, yes.
Now, did you, when you kept these guns in your car, you didn't keep ammunition for the guns in your car, did you?
No, I had ammo and the guns.
Okay. You didn't like keep a box of ammunition in the front passenger seat, did you?
I did not.
You didn't like keep loose bullets rolling around in the front passenger seat, correct? You didn't have them anywhere in the car, did you? Did you, you didn't drive around with an AR-15 in your front passenger seat either, did you?
No, I did not.
Do you have an AR-15?
I do now.
Okay, that's not my question. My question is in 2015.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said, do I have an AR-15?
In 2015,
Okay.
did you have an AR-15?
No, I did not.
Okay. Now, at the time all this happened, particularly when you gave your interview to Sergeant Tolbert, you really didn't know what had happened, correct? Exactly, correct?
In terms of,
The murders.
correct.
You wasn't even sure what guns were used to commit the murders, correct?
Yeah, it was all over the news.
Okay, my question is, were you aware of what they were? So you heard about it on the news. What did you hear on the news?
I just know that they were in the news.
Okay, the fact that the murders had happened.
And what types of guns were used, and that he had fled, and those are things that were in the news.
So you had some information about that. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and you've since learned, because the discovery process in criminal cases, you've since learned some more details about how the murders occurred, correct?
I don't know that I have.
Have you read any police reports in the case?
I don't know.
I'm sorry?
I don't think I have.
Have you talked to your brother about the case?
We talk, but we try to not talk about the case.
You talk to your brother a lot, don't you?
I do, daily,
Every day, several times a day, as a matter of fact, don't you?
yes.
You love your brother, don't you?
Yes, and I love Amanda.
He's your little brother,
My
right?
baby brother, yes.
And you would do anything for him, wouldn't you?
Define anything
Well, that's my question. You would do anything for your little brother, wouldn't you?
to a point.
Can you redirect, Mr. Schubert?
Nothing, Your Honor.
This is Boatright excused.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, you are excused. Mr. Schubert, call your next witness.
Tammy Folsom?
If you'll take the way to stand right over here, please. You remain standing, please. Raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. You can take a seat. Mr. Schubert, read the inquiry.
Yes. Would you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
My name is Tammy Folsom.
Where do you live, ma'am?
I live in Baker County.
Do you sometimes stay in St. Johns County?
Yes.
And where would that be?
At the boat rides.
Okay.
At Dan and Rona Boat Rides house.
Okay. And would that be on back in 2015, would that have been on the Garrison Ave address?
Yes.
And did you do some work for them, or what's your relationship?
I did upkeep for the house. I did cleaning and watch dogs and watch the house while they were gone on trips.
And back in August of 2015, were you doing the same thing then?
Yes.
Now, specifically back on August 27th of 2015, were you at the house that morning?
Yes.
All right. And tell me what your typical daily routine is. Get up, go to work, what do you do?
I'd get up and I'd take the dogs for a walk. I'd go and get a shower and then I would head to work.
And what time do you usually get up?
At that time, I didn't have to be at work until 8, so I got up around 6:30.
And on that morning when you woke up, did you see James Colley at the residence?
Yes.
All right. And did you have any conversation? Well, what was he doing when you woke up?
The dogs made a noise, so I got up and I looked on the back porch because there was a glare or a glow. And I looked out and JR was out there on his phone playing some kind of game.
And at that point, did you have any conversations with Mr. Colley?
No, I went and laid back down, tried to sleep.
And then what time did you get up for work?
I couldn't sleep, so I went ahead and got up about 5:45. And then I let the dogs out back and said, hello, good morning.
And did you, what was Mr. Colley doing at that point?
Still playing that game, smoking a cigarette.
Did you ever have, and I don't want to get into anything that he may have said, but did you ever have interaction with Mr. Colley?
That day?
That morning?
No,
All right. Did you see him doing anything around the house?
no.
Inside the manager. At some point, did you see Mr. Colley outside?
Yes,
And what was he doing?
I was leaving for work and he was cleaning his truck out.
And if you know, what was his demeanor at that time? Did he seem rushed? Did he seem angry?
No, he was just cleaning it out and he turned around and says, have a good day, Tim.
Did he act like his normal self at that point?
Yeah.
I don't have anything else, Sharon.
Cross-examination.
Yes, sure. Good morning, Ms. Wilson. You indicated that you upkeep the house and watch the dogs for the boat rides, is that correct?
Correct.
Isn't it true that you're also very, very good family friends with Rhonda Colley and the family, correct?
Yes.
How long have you known Rhonda?
Since 2001.
And you've known James just almost about that long as well, correct?
Correct. He was laying some carpet at Citibank.
Okay. You characterize him as being like your brother in the
Yes.
past, correct? Okay. You indicated you stay at the boat rides house, including the one on Garrison. You do that quite often, is that right?
Correct.
You have family Sunday dinners with the family?
Yes.
You've been talking to the defendant since his arrest in this case?
Correct.
Visits and on the phone?
Yes.
So you're close with the family, right?
Yes.
Mr. Shoemaker asked you about the morning of the 27th, but I just kind of want to make sure I understand. You initially said you normally get up at 6:30, is that right?
At that time, yes.
Okay. But this occasion was different, correct?
Yes.
And what time did you initially get woken up that morning?
It was around 5:30. When I spoke to you at my deposition, I actually got the times wrong because I've been sick a couple of times, so I couldn't. I got kind of thrown off.
Okay, tell me about, so the first time you wake up that morning on the 27th is 5:30?
Correct.
And what do you see at 5:30?
I seen a glow on the back porch.
And you looked out, and is that when you said earlier you saw James on his phone?
Correct.
And then you're up, are you up for good at that point?
Well, I wanted to lay back down, but I couldn't. And so I laid there for about 15 minutes, and then I just went ahead and got up and let the dogs out.
And then you saw him again prior to leaving for work? Is that
Yes.
right? Is that when you said he was outside
Correct.
cleaning his truck?
Correct.
And that would have been approximately what time?
That would have been around, I would say about 6:30.
You said you had to be at work at 8?
Yes.
So you left at 6:30 to go to work?
Correct.
Where did you work?
At JA.
In Jacksonville?
Yes.
Ms. Folsom, do you recall testifying at deposition you referred to earlier? You recall that? It was just a month or so ago? The deposition that we conducted about a month ago. Do you recall that?
I thought it was about a week or a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. It's just right before this started.
Okay, June 26th. Yeah, a couple weeks ago now. Correct. You recall stating in that deposition that you woke up initially that morning at 4:30. Is that correct? You recall stating in that deposition that you knew it was actually 4:32 because you looked at your cell phone.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes. And like I said, I got the time wrong because I've been sick, so I was thrown off.
Okay. Do you recall in that deposition, you had also...
Judge, Your Honor, improper impeachment.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Prior to that deposition, Ms. Folsom, did you prepare a statement about your activities on the 27th?
Yes,
And you typed up a statement and handed it over to the defense?
correct,
And that statement came up while we were in deposition as well, correct?
correct.
And in that statement, you indicated that you woke up that morning at 4:32 and saw Mr. Colley, is that right?
Correct.
And that's a statement you typed up when?
It was after I got sick the first time. It was probably about a year ago. I'm not sure what day I gave it to him.
But a year or so prior to the deposition, when you typed it up, it said 4:30, correct?
Yes,
And not the deposition, just 2 weeks ago, you said 4:30, is that right?
right,
And today here you're saying 5:30.
right.
But both times you saw Mr. Colley, he was appeared fine, his demeanor?
Yes,
Okay. And he was on his phone when you saw him at 5:30 in the morning, is that correct?
plain as game, yes.
No further questions.
Any redirect examination, Mr. Schmidt?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Folsom, excused.
Yes.
Thank you, or excused, ma'am, thank you. Mr. Shoemaker, how long do you think you're next witness?
For me, probably only about 5 minutes.
Okay, go ahead, call your next witness.
Crystal Rudd.
Ma'am, if you'll take the witness stand right over here. And if you'll remain standing, please. Raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, ma'am. You can be seated. Mr. Shoemaker, you may inquire.
Would you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
Crystal Colley Wright.
And do you know James Colley?
I do.
And how is that?
He's my little brother.
All right. And did you know Amanda Colley as well?
I did.
And how long did you know Amanda?
About 9 years.
All right. Back in, let's say, the summer of 2015, were you aware of the issues between James and Amanda?
Yes.
All right. And did you ever know about a time when James moved out?
Yes.
All right. And once he had moved out, did you ever see the two of them together again?
I didn't see them together, but I know that they had been together prior to me entering the home.
Okay. All right. And what day are you talking about?
That would have been the 25th of August, 2015.
On the 25th?
Yes.
Okay. And what happened on the 25th?
I'm going to object. I think for a basis of knowledge is hearsay.
I
The question was what happened on the 25th, so without telling us what other people may have said to you, go ahead and explain. what
No,
happened.
I was going to the home on Garrison Drive I was going to the home on Garrison Drive. 2 houses prior to the Garrison Drive home, Amanda had passed me, leaving the Garrison Drive home.
So you'd seen her while leaving the...
Yes.
Is that Rhonda's?
Rhonda's home, yes.
All right, and is that the only time that you had seen them together since they moved out?
Yes.
And then also, as far as, did you see JR that day?
I did.
All right. And when did you see JR or James?
Within less than a minute, I pulled into the home. I had my child with me and I didn't want her to, so I asked my child to stay in the car and I went in, I confronted my brother and I asked him what she had been doing there.
And again, don't get into anything he said, but why did you confront him about that?
Because she wasn't supposed to have been there.
I don't have anything else, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
That was because he had an injunction against him, is that correct?
Yes, filed by her, yes.
To stay away from Amanda, correct?
Yes, and vice versa.
They redirect.
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Wright, excused.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Wright, you are excused. Thank you. That's call your next witness.
Your Honor, this time it is addressed.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard the judge just rested in this case. That's all the testimony you'll hear from the defense in their case in chief. So I do need to meet with the lawyers for a little bit. The time is perfect for a mid-morning recess. It's 10:10. So it's going to take 30 minutes at this point, so then you spend a little time with the lawyers. I'll have you back, come back at 10:40. So at 10:40, be back in the lounge and be ready to come back. Again, please don't discuss the case among yourselves during the break or with anybody else during the break. Don't do any research of any type. Leave your notes here in the courtroom when you sit here during the break. And we'll see you all back shortly. If you follow the law, it's great.
To make that decision, Judge, so the answer is possibly yes.
Okay. We should be in the process of moving the jury out. Are there any motions from the defense at this point?
Your Honor, I would just renew my previous motion for the judgment of acquittal.
That motion will be denied. How much time do you need, Mr. Johnson, to determine?
I believe we asked him to come on over, Judge, so if you could give me maybe 15 minutes or so.
Okay. We'll come back at 10:40. I'll have the set of jury instructions ready to go at that point. I will hand them out at that point. If you have any rebuttal, then let me know. At the end of the rebuttal, I'll see the lawyers in sidebar, and we can address any motions at the close of all the evidence at that point again in sidebar. And then I anticipate instructing the jury this morning, and then we'll break for lunch, and then you all can give your closing arguments after lunch.
So you can hear that.
Exactly. Okay. All right, we'll be in recess until 10:40.